This program is about unsolved mysteries. Whenever possible, the actual family members and police officials have participated in recreating the events. What you are about to see is not a news broadcast.
Tonight, all new stories on the season premiere.
Hey, Rob.
Unsolved Mysteries.
This is Star Explains. I got this.
Your brother's soul is mine.
Hey, dreadlocks. Where the bomb buck that on?
Harry tells me you're quite the science whiz, you know.
We had to go.
Nobody gets that.
You did it while you're putting your clothes back on, dear.
Your brother's soul.
Almost like albums they put in my pocket.
Shut up! It isn't even your pocket, is it, son?
What's up? And welcome to another episode of Star Explains. Currently, we are in a different location because we are doing things a little different. So, first of all, before we get into it, thank you for watching. Thank you for clicking on my video. I will always be that person who will always thank you at the beginning of my videos, even to my haters. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for liking and commenting and subscribing to my channel. I work hard on these videos and I'm always trying to think of new things to do. So, a little background, as always. This one will be a little different than what I usually do. What I'm gonna do is if you've seen the thumbnail, of course, I'm gonna talk about people who have disappeared. This is gonna be based on the show Disappeared. And why not do 4 episodes that caught my eye when watching Disappeared? So if you've ever watched the ID channel, you know what Disappeared is. It used to come on the ID channel and you can still watch it, I think, on HBO Max. But what I'm gonna do is gonna go over a couple of the older episodes that might not be on Max. I think they only have like season 8 going up. I'm gonna talk about some of the older cases, see if they have any updates, and myself, along with ChatGPT, will give our thoughts on what happened. First it'll be me, and then it'll be ChatGPT. I'll read off what it thinks likely happened to that person. Now, I'm not gonna talk about any of the cases where, well, actually I am. One of the cases, of course, there is a solid conclusion about what happened. But cases like Chinoma Gray running off with her older boyfriend, or like in the episode from season 1, The Long Drive, with Michelle McMullen, how she, got into some trouble and then she took off and shit, and her family's like, oh no, she wouldn't just take off, but then she turned around and she got found. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about stuff like that. These are gonna be ones where the people actually went missing and there are no conclusions yet. So we're gonna get into this. Also, the whole month of October, I'm doing stuff. I have like 5 explain type videos that I'm going to do. We're starting off with this. Then I'm gonna do like, I'm not gonna ruin it. I'm not gonna ruin the surprise. But let's fucking get into it. Disappeared. Let's do it. Okay, so for our first case, we're starting off with season 7, episode 10. The name of the episode is Girl Interrupted. Okay? This episode is about a young lady named Jennifer Kesse, who is originally from New Jersey, but later moved to Florida with her family. Her and her family, they moved to the Orlando, Florida area, and she was born May 20th, 1981. At the time of her disappearance, she was 24 years old. She's 5'8". She has shoulder-length blonde hair with green eyes. She weighed about 125 pounds. Unfortunately, Jennifer has been missing since January 24th, 2006. Jennifer has a younger brother named Logan, as well as a mother and a father. Her father's name is Drew, and Jennifer's mother's name is Joyce. Jennifer, at the time she went missing, she also was in a long distance relationship. Rob lived about 3 hours away in Fort Lauderdale. Okay, let's talk about her education and her career. Jennifer graduated from the University of Central Florida in 2003 with a degree in finance. She also worked as a finance manager at Central Florida Investments timeshare company in Ochi, Florida. I think that's how you say that, Ochi. Let me look that up.
Ocoee.
Ocoee it is. No, this ain't no fucking laughing matter. All right, gotta be serious, goddammit. We gotta be serious. Anyway, so from what Jennifer's family says, she was a very independent person. You know what I'm saying? Like, She was about her business. She was about her shit. She went out there. She got her own condo and she was going on vacations and shit with her boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? She would live, and her condo was in a gated community. That's what's so fucked up. Like, she lived in a condo with a gated community. However, just because it's gated, everybody who knows who lives in a gated, you know what I'm saying, apartment complex, apartment community, you know what I'm saying, condos, even like the little neighborhoods and shit with the houses, like they're gated as well. Everybody knows that motherfucking gate don't work 90% of the time. At the gate where you pull up to the gate, you surprised, you like, damn, I gotta use my key. Wow, okay. You use the damn key, then you come back the next day, the fucking gate is broke. So like gated communities, y'all ain't shit. Y'all be charging people all that goddamn money and the fucking gate don't work. Fix that shit. Anyway, Jennifer, man, she was fucking independent. She went on a vacation with her boyfriend. All her friends was like, yo, Jennifer was smart. She was bubbly. When you had a problem, you went to her. Jennifer always had big plans for her future. They also described her as cautious and situationally aware. She always locked her doors. She always checked her surroundings and she stayed in touch. That was one thing about it. She always stayed in touch with her family. If a day, not even a day, if a couple hours went by and they ain't heard from Jennifer, it's a fucking problem. And that's one thing about the fucking police I don't get. Well, she's a grown adult, so let's give her 24 hours. No, fuck that, man. I know my people. Just like Jennifer's mother and father knew her, you know your people. If they don't answer, there's a fucking problem. If they don't get back to you within a couple of hours, there's a problem. Okay, let's get into the timeline of events. On the weekend of January 21st through January 22nd, 2006, Jennifer and her boyfriend Rob vacationed in St. Croix in the Virgin Islands together and shit, right? On that Monday, she returned to Orlando and went to work the next day. That night, she called and she spoke to her family and she spoke to her boyfriend Rob. You know, you gotta call, you gotta get them I love yous in because that's what's important. The next day, January 24th, which was a Tuesday, Jennifer was reported missing after failing to show up at work and not answering any of her family's phone calls. This was highly unusual due to how she was. Again, she was one of them people who you call, I'm gonna hit you back if I don't answer the phone right then and there. If I'm doing something and I'm busy, you know, if I'm sick or something like that, I'm gonna hit you back eventually. I'm gonna at least shoot you a text. That's the type of person she was. And by her not answering her phone, that raised alarms to everybody in her family. Okay, so after Jennifer doesn't show up for work again, her employer contacts her parents who drive to Orlando, and at the condo, they find signs of her getting ready for work. You know what I'm saying? They check the shower is wet. They see makeup out. However, her phone, her purse, and her keys, as well as her iPad and briefcase, plus an outfit is missing. And that's crazy because like, how the fuck? It's just like she got ready for work and just fucking randomly just disappeared. Like literally get ready for work and then just disappear. So her family, they file a police report, and of course the fucking police ain't no real fucking help at all. Like in most situations, like I'm not one of them people who say defund the police because there needs to be order or, you know, shit'll go crazy. But fucking police suck, bro. You can say what you want. Like even some of them admit that some of their co-workers suck at their fucking job. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for Jennifer. What originally brought my attention to this, and you know, I was watching Disappeared, of course. What got me and what stuck to me about this case is that they have fucking surveillance footage. They have fucking surveillance footage of a guy parking her car and walking away. However, this was back in 06. This isn't now. Back in 06, they had those cameras that take like a picture every 3 seconds. And this lucky piece of shit, every time he stepped, he was behind a fucking fence post. How the fuck does that happen? Like, when I first seen that shit blew my mind. I had to fucking rewind it. Look at this shit. How the fuck fuck does that happen? Like, what the fuck? Anyway, like, that shit just blew my mind. On January 26, a resident seeing the news coverage reports a car that was sitting for days to the police. The police roll up and they find out it's fucking Jennifer's car. You know, they check the car out, they do forensics and all that. They see valuables inside the car that wouldn't suggest, you know, that it was a robbery. So what the fuck? So as with most of these cases, unfortunately, Jennifer is still missing. There has been hundreds of leads that has been investigated, but nobody's seen Jennifer. In 2018, Jennifer's family filed a lawsuit and won against the Orlando Police Department for records and continues to investigate Jennifer's whereabouts privately. From then to now, Jennifer's case still remains unsolved. The case was transferred to Florida Department of Law Enforcement's Cold Case Unit for review analysis. If you know anything about Jennifer's whereabouts, or if you're the sick fuck that did this, just turn yourself in. If you know anything about Jennifer's whereabouts, please contact the City of Orlando Police Department. Give this family the closure that they deserve. Again, I know this was 2006, but as someone who knows about loss, when you lose a family member, you will never give up. Whether they're missing, whether you know it in your heart, you'll never give up. Okay, so the Jennifer Kesse case. The law enforcement, they currently have no idea what happened to Jennifer. Just gonna keep it 100. They have no idea. They wasted too much time. I would have pulled up every person who worked at that place because there was construction work going on in that complex. So one of them workers had to see something. One of them workers probably did it. Who was there and who disappeared the next day? One of their co-workers didn't show up to work that day, or did show up to work that day and didn't show up tomorrow. Somebody knows something, and that's what I would have done. I don't know if that's what the police did, not to scrutinize them, but somebody knows something that happened to her because a grown woman just don't disappear, bro. And it's crazy, like, even with all these cases that I'm going to review, a grown person just don't disappear unless they want to disappear or unless somebody did something to them. So I believe, this is my opinion, I don't want to disrespect her family, anything like that. I don't want them to give up hope, but I believe that one of those construction workers did something to her. I believe that one of those construction workers did something to her, and she may still be there. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but maybe that's what happened. Maybe the person who was seen parking her car took her elsewhere and did something to her.
Sure, from my perspective, based on the details and what's known, it seems likely that Jennifer was taken very quickly as she left her condo that morning. The fact that her car was found parked somewhere else suggests whoever took her wanted to mislead investigators or buy time. It's a crime of opportunity, and likely someone who knew the area well enough to move her car without drawing attention. Of course, this is just a reasoned guess from the evidence we have, not a definitive answer. It's definitely a theory that's come up over the years. Some people have speculated that someone working nearby, like a construction worker, might have noticed her routine and taken that opportunity. It's not proven, but it's one of those plausible scenarios people have considered. Ultimately, we just don't know for sure, but it's definitely a possibility that's been discussed.
Okay, for the next case that we have, another one that definitely caught my attention, and when I first seen this, it was just so strange to me because not one person went missing, but 3 people went missing. How does 3 people go missing? And that's what brought it to my attention. It was like I was cleaning up, I was vacuuming my floor, you know what I'm saying? And it just caught my attention. 3 women went missing in the middle of a night, just gone. This case is the Springfield Three. Susie Streeter, Stacy McCall, and Sherrill Levitt, all 3 women went missing in Springfield, Missouri in 1992. They went missing the night of June 6th with an abduction window around 2:15 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. in the morning on June 7th. How, bro? Just how? Before we get into our next case, just like in every video, it's time for you to go drink some fucking water. Let's get it, because I know you ain't had none today. let me give you a little background on our three missing women. Okay, so I'm gonna go from oldest to youngest. Let's start off with Sherrill Elizabeth Levitt. When Sherrill went missing, she was 47 years old. She was a single mother and a cosmetologist at New Attitudes Hair Salon in Springfield. She was known as a dependable person, and she was close to her daughter, Susie. She had recently purchased a house at 1717 East Delmar Street, where she lived with Susie. She also had a little dog named Cinnamon. That night that Sherrill went missing, she had spoke to a friend of hers around 11:15 at night about a furniture project that she was working on because, again, she recently moved into her house. Sherrill was 5 foot. She weighed about 110 pounds, and she had short, light blonde hair. She has brown eyes, and her ears are pierced. Suzanne, aka Susie Elizabeth Streeter, was 19 when she went missing. She recently graduated from Kickapoo High School. Is that Kickapoo or Kickapoo? I think it's Kickapoo High School.
Kickapoo, Kickapoo, Kickapoo.
Nah, it's Kickapoo. It's Kickapoo. And not to, you know what I'm saying, be funny. Again, we being serious right now. Kickapoo is funny as hell. Like, that is the... I went to Kickapoo. Okay, all right. Sorry. Shout out to Kickapoo High School. She had graduated from high school on the day that she went missing because they were, as I'm going to explain, her and her friend Stacy was going to graduation parties and shit. Like, literally just graduated and they was going to parties and shit. You know what I'm saying? Kicking it. She recently moved back home to live with her mother in her mother's new home on 1717 Delmar Street. At first, she was living with her brother. Her and her brother, they got a spot together. But her brother, he admitted himself on the Disappear episode. He had a little problem with drinking, you know, a little problem with alcohol, which a lot of people do. I can't throw no stones. Like, even, you know what I'm saying, my family members have alcohol with drinking. I mean, have alcohol with drinking. What the fuck is that? Anyway, I have family members. Everybody has family members who can't stop touching the bottle and they turn into a different person when they hit the bottle. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a fun person, a mean person, or it just mellows them out, everybody has that person in their family. And unfortunately, that's something that put a strain on Susie's brother and his mother, and then his sister later on relationship. And that's something that, you know what I'm saying, he regrets that happened. So because they got into a fight, Susie moved back home with her mom and they was kicking it. Susie worked at the movie theater or local theater in their area, and she was 5'2". She weighed about 102 pounds, and she had shoulder length blonde hair. She has brown eyes, and of course her ears are pierced as well. Of course, like, what woman don't have their ears pierced? She also has distinguishing marks on her face. She has a mole in the top left corner of her mouth, and she has distinguished scar marks on her forearm. So those are identifiers. Now let's get to Stacy Kathleen McCall. Stacy was the youngest of the three people who went missing. She was 18. She had also graduated from Kickapoo High School that same day. So the two girls, like, they literally just fucking graduated, like, their whole lives ahead of them. That's what fucked me up. Like, 3 people go missing and 2 of them are 18 and 19. They whole lives ahead of them. Anyway, Stacy lived with her parents, Janice and Stu McCall. She also was scheduled to work at the Springfield Gymnastics Center as well. She was 5'3", 120 pounds. She had long, dark blonde hair and light colored eyes. So now that we have an idea of the 3 missing women, let's talk about that night. So the girls, of course, again, like I said, they was partying, and you know what I'm saying? At first, they was gonna go to a lock-in. Now, I've never done a lock-in before myself personally. Like, your boy got his GED. I wasn't with the shits, you know what I'm saying? But a lock-in is where a bunch of people, they get together and they decide, you know what? We're not gonna go out and party. We're gonna protest all that bullshit. We're just gonna kick it in the house, or we're just gonna kick it in a hotel room, and we're gonna stay out the bullshit. We get locked in. Somebody will come unlock the door in the morning and let us out. So that's what it was originally. But Stacy and Susan, they was like, yo, fuck that. We just graduated. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go party, Holmes. You know what I'm saying? They was like, yo, let's go fucking party. Fuck that. We just graduated. They changed their plans up and they like, all right, instead of going to the crib, let's go out. Let's go party and shit. And then we can go kick it at our homegirl house. You know what I'm saying? She said we can come stay there, but let's go out and fucking party and shit. So that's what they go do. They go party. They have a good time. They go see their friends. You know what I'm saying? They go to, I'm making up people names, but they go to Kevin house. They go to fucking Kathleen house. They go chill. They go around and see their friends and shit. Then they go to their homegirl house and shit. And her homegirl has guests already staying over. Her house is full. They ain't got no place to sleep. You know what I'm saying? They like, shit, I ain't trying to sleep on the floor and you ain't got no blankets. Like, we all been there. Like, it's been a couple times I went to my man's house and, well, like in the past, of course, like now I'm a fucking adult and shit. But when I was like in high school and shit, I go to his house and it'd be like, yo, y'all ain't got no blankets? Like, I'm stuck laying here on the couch with no blanket and shit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's been there where you gotta like pull the carpet up over you and shit. And you put like the living room pillow over you, like covers and shit. And they come out, oh man, you all right? You cold? Yo, we all been there. But Stacy and Susan was like, man, fuck that. So Susan was like, come on, we can go back to my house and just kick it. And then we can go to the water park tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow, homegirl. So Stacy and Susan, they depart from their friend's house and they go home. Sherrill was still up and shit. So they go into the house. Then we get to the next day, right? Susan and Stacy's friend pull up with her boyfriend and shit, and everything's all quiet. Everything's, you know, chill. They go up. They see like the little lamp, the little light, the little globe light outside is broken on the fucking porch. And they're like, yo, what the fuck? And the boyfriend's like, well, you know, I don't want them to cut their feet or anything, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sweep it up. You know what I'm saying? Him being a good dude might have fucked with some evidence. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, he had no idea. That ain't, in my opinion, that's not tampering because it's all still there, but he did move some fucking evidence, unfortunately. They knock on the door and shit. Nobody answers the fucking door. You know what I'm saying? Her homegirl, she looking in the window. She see the dog Cinnamon and shit kind of standing there looking all agitated. So, you know what I'm saying? They knock on the door again. Nobody answers the fucking door. So she twists the knob and the fucking door opens up. And she like, yo, what the fuck? Why the fuck they leave their door unlocked? She walk up in the house. Boyfriend behind her, and they looking around and shit. She walking, hey, Stacy, Susan, Miss Sherrill, y'all here? Not fucking there. So they're like, yo, where the fuck they go? All they cars outside? Yo, is they in the back or something? Like, it's a little early for a barbecue? Nobody's fucking there. Somehow, one way or another, the voicemail gets erased. It's like, okay, maybe that might have held some evidence and shit like that. Who knows? Susie reported that she might have had somebody, you know what I'm saying, stalking her. They was leaving like weird ass voicemails and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? She said that somebody was doing that to her. Like maybe it was her ex-boyfriend and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They checked on her ex-boyfriend. They said he had an alibi. Whatever, he can get the fuck out of here. He's an ex. You know what I'm saying? He ain't got nothing to do with it. No disrespect. Police come check everything out. Everything looks like it's kind of just normal. Like the people just got up, walked away. How the fuck did 3 people disappear, bro? That shit is still unsolved. 3 people just randomly fucking disappeared. How, bro? So then they don't have no leads. They don't know what the fuck happened to these people. So I'm skipping over shit. You know what I'm saying? If you want to know what's really happening, go back, read the case notes, watch the episode of Disappeared. But they get word that this one prisoner in 1997, this one prisoner named Robert Craig Cox. He in prison, you know what I'm saying? He already in prison for fucking in Texas, you know what I'm saying? In Texas, I remember now let me give a little story right quick, not to, you know, say get away from it too much. I used to be a truck driver, right? I caught the bus in Texas one time. I went to Dallas. I had to go to Rockwall, Texas, you know what I'm saying, for CR England, man. Shout out. Man, matter of fact, fuck CR England. They owe me money anyway. Fuck them. Anyway, I go to Texas, right? I'm in Dallas, you know what I'm saying? Greyhound station, waiting on my bus. This dude, he randomly tells me, like, I'm sitting there talking to the guy. He's like, yeah, you want to be careful here in Texas because we hang them high in Texas. I was like, hang them high? Yo, if you could tell by my voice and if you could tell by my character, I'm black. When you start talking about hanging, motherfucking ears perk up, you know what I'm saying? I get on motherfucking alert. I'm like, yo, fuck he talking about hanging? We ain't hanging shit over here. But what he was referring to, of course, was when you go to Texas and when you go to jail in Texas for some shit, they gonna put some years on your ass, boy. They gonna make an example out of you. And that's what happened to fucking Craig Cox. This motherfucker was in jail. He ain't getting out. So this motherfucker started talking about, yeah, he was talking to investigators and shit. People interviewed him. He was getting interviewed. He was like, yeah, I lived in Springfield in 1992. I can tell you one thing, y'all ain't gonna find them. They missing and they ain't coming back. What? What the fuck did you just say to me? Like, that's what I would have, like, if I was the cop, I'd have turned the cameras off and rolled my sleeves up like old dude from The Wire, you know what I'm saying?
What's your name?
Look, I didn't do shit here, okay?
I asked you your name.
Nah, this shit ain't right.
Who'd you try to page, shitbird?
Why the fuck do you care, okay? I mean...
And would have beat his ass like he beat Bubbles' ass up in there. Yeah. I would have fucked his ass up. Like, what? You gonna tell me what happened one way or another. I don't give a fuck if it's inadmissible in court. I'm finna beat the fuck out of you until you tell me what's poppin'. But, you know, again, he probably would have lost his badge and shit, you know, whatever. But you say some shit like that to me, pain. Anyway, this motherfucker said that and ain't say nothing else about it. The reason why the police didn't go like, you know what I'm saying, break their foot off in his ass is because this motherfucker's a liar, bro. He one of them dudes that cop the cases he ain't even do just to get a little notoriety. He's known for doing that. So is that what he did in this situation? Or did he really know what happened? That's what's mind-boggling to me. However, the police have other suspects as well. They have a man named Gerald Carnahan. Carnahan? I think this is his motherfucking name. He's also a strong suspect. Gerald was convicted in 1985 for the rape and murder of Jackie Johns. That piece of shit. Bro, let me explain something to y'all right quick, man. And again, I'm gonna get to the next case, of course. We're gonna wrap this one up. I feel like if you rape a child, if you rape a woman, it's proven that you did it more than once, we gotta take your balls. We gotta take them. Matter of fact, turn him into the yellow dude from Sin City. Take all his shit. Take it. He don't need it because he don't know he can't control himself. Turn him into the dude from Game of Thrones. That's exactly what I think should happen. There's no place for you in this world. No place. Put him on a rocket and send him to fucking Uranus. Let him figure it out on the way. Fuck him. Now that I got that off my chest. Gerald, you piece of shit. Gerald also abducted another woman years earlier after John's murder. After he murdered Jackie Johns, he abducted another woman. He also has ties with the Galloping Goose motorcycle gang, who has also been rumored to have ties to this case. Galloping Goose motorcycle gang. I never heard of it. Let's check them out right quick.
Absolutely. The Galloping Goose Motorcycle Club is one of the older outlaw motorcycle clubs in the U.S., dating back to the 1940s. They started in California and then expanded to other states like Missouri. They're known as a one-percenter club, which means they're considered an outlaw motorcycle gang by law enforcement, and they've had run-ins with the law, especially involving drug trafficking and racketeering. In short, they're an old-school outlaw biker club with a long history and a reputation that law enforcement keeps a close eye on. They aren't primarily known for kidnappings as their main activity. The Galloping Goose MC is more often associated with things like drug trafficking or racketeering. That said, outlaw motorcycle clubs can sometimes be involved in violent crimes, but kidnapping isn't their hallmark. It's more of an outlier scenario rather than a regular pattern.
Okay, so as you heard, according to ChatGPT, the gang itself isn't necessarily known for that type of situation, but he has ties to them. You know what I'm saying? Like with everything, there's always a couple bad apples in the bunch. However, one of the members, Stephen Garrison, who is also a convicted rapist, like, what's up? Just take it, bro. Oh man, I would not be mad. And the way our country is right now, it probably will never happen. But I won't be mad if it becomes law where they start taking it. You know what I'm saying? If it's proven that you did this, take them. Anyway, Stephen Garrison, you piece of shit. He stated to the police and gave credible information related to the three missing women. Both Garrison and Gerald, you pieces of shit. May you both rot in hell. are currently serving prison sentence. Now, even though I don't like these two pieces of shit, I don't necessarily know if they're the ones who did it. My money is on Robert Craig Cox. So why did I pick Robert Craig Cox? Why do I think he had something to do with it? Robert Craig Cox, and you know what? Before I even get into it, I'm not the only person who thinks this. Even on the episode of Disappeared, one of the people who was actually looking into the case, they thought the same thing. Robert Craig Cox worked in construction. There was a lot of construction going on around Springfield when this shit happened. Robert Craig Cox was working in construction again, as I said already. I'm repeating myself. Anyway, my bad. All right, ignore that. Anyway, because he was working in construction and they were building a lot of things in Springfield around that time, what's to stop him from rape, murder, and put them in a fucking parking garage? In the episode, they did sonar and they found 3 abnormalities in a parking garage. However, the parking garage belongs to a hospital. The state or the city does not think it's important enough to excavate and find out what's going on. Why? Because it will cost too much money. So you would rather sit with 3 people buried underneath of your parking garage than to dig it up and check. People would rather have the money in their pockets than to give Stacy McCall's family the closure that they deserve. These girls been missing just about as long as I've been alive. Dig up the fucking parking garage and let them see what's under there. If you don't dig it up, if you do dig it up and there's nobody there, then at least you tried. But if you dig it up and they're there and you decided to let them sit there this long, you ain't shit. Now, this was in season 3, episode 10 of Disappeared. Show came out 2011. They did the ground penetrating radar way back then. I'm pretty sure if they check again, they'll have a better and clearer picture about what happened. Not what happened, if they're there. But me personally, I believe Robert Craig Cox did something to those women. That's what I believe. The case is still unsolved. Their families deserve closure. Now, again, due to the age of this case, not many people may remember it. However, if you do remember hearing something, seeing something, please reach out to the Springfield Police Department. Say something. Give the McCall family the closure they deserve. Now, we've reached the portion of I've already said what I believe happened. Let's ask ChatGPT what it believes happened.
Absolutely. From a logical standpoint, the Springfield 3 case seems like it involves someone who either knew the women or took advantage of a very vulnerable moment. Given that there was no sign of struggle and their personal belongings were left behind, it suggests the perpetrator might have had a way to quickly gain control or convince them to leave quietly. It's possible they were lured out by someone they trusted or someone posing as a figure of authority. Ultimately, it's just an educated guess, but it seems like a scenario where someone with a plan and a connection to the area took the opportunity to make them disappear. There have been a few persons of interest over the years, but one name that often comes up is Robert Craig Cox. He's a convicted kidnapper and robber who was in Springfield at the time and has made some statements that drew attention. He once claimed to know the women were buried and later recanted, so he's been a notable figure in the case. However, there's never been enough evidence to charge him or anyone else. So while he's a commonly mentioned suspect, it's important to note that no definitive suspect has been identified.
So again, the thing that brought my attention to this entire case was the fact that it was 3 people who went missing, which is insane to me. However, in the next case I'm going to explain, it's 4 people that go missing. An entire fucking family. Now, y'all know I don't cry about shit. Well, yeah, actually I do. I done told y'all everything I done cried about. Every movie I done cried about. Shit, I'm still crying about The Life of Chuck and The Long Walk. I still got to do my Long Walk video. Damn. Okay, anyway. All right, so before I get into the next case, it's day 2 of me working on this video, and like I couldn't sleep last night, like thinking about this shit. Like that's why I chose to do this video for the Halloween month. You know what I'm saying? Halloween month or October is all about horrors and scares. You know what I'm saying? When I was younger, they used to have like this thing that came on the Disney Channel, you know what I'm saying? You get to watch Halloween Town and all these different Halloween movies for like the whole month of October. And that shit wasn't scary to me. I'm not scared of like ghosts, vampires, all that shit, you know what I'm saying? What scared me is real shit. What scared me is people. I feel like people are some of the most scariest things in the world. You never know what they're gonna do. That's what I'm most afraid of. I'm afraid of people. You put me in the jungle and shit, like, yeah, I don't want to be touched by no spiders and no snakes and no shit like that. But I'm more worried about what the people gonna do when they find me. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, this shit gave me anxiety and I could not fucking sleep. So I ended up drinking some coffee. You know what I'm saying? Had fucking jitters all day. I was like straight spazzing the fuck out. Anyway, let's get back to it. So the next case that I'm gonna discuss, it shook me again because it was a whole fucking family. A whole family disappeared, bro. Like, how the fuck does that happen? That family was the McStay family. We have Joseph, we have Summer, we have Johnny or Gianni, and we have Joseph Jr. Joseph McStay, he was 5'9", born on November 20th, 1969. He weighed about 175 pounds. He had brown hair. Looked a little reddish to me in the pictures a little bit, but yeah, it was brown. We also have Summer. Summer was born December 27th, 1966. She was 5'5", weighed about 115 pounds. She has brown eyes, brown hair, and she also went by other aliases, but she had changed her name to Summer. Like, when she was born, her name was Virginia, and you know, she kind of like to change her name up. I know people who like to do that as well, you know what I'm saying? They don't like to use their name. They'll change it a little bit. They'll like add little variations like, oh, my name is Chris Clarkson, and your name is like Christopher Clark. You know, you'll say, oh, my name is Chris Clarkson. Like, I had a whole chick, like, not to get off subject, but I had a whole chick who did that shit to me. She told me her name was one thing and it was another, and this was like when I was in middle school and shit. So I believed that her name was actually the other thing when it was actually something different. And like, I believed that shit for like 3 months, like, no lie. Anyway, getting back on topic, we also have their oldest son, Gianni. He was their firstborn son. He was born July 9th, 2005. He weighed about 40 pounds. He had brown eyes, just like his mother and his father. Also, we have Joseph Jr. Joseph Jr. was born the last day of January in 07. He weighed about 35 pounds. He also had brown hair and brown eyes, just like his mother and his father. These kids, man, that's kind of what brought it to my attention. It wasn't just the fact that it was the whole family that fucking disappeared, but it was the kids too. Now, I know you like, oh, the parents disappear, they just leave. Ain't they gonna take the kids with them? Yeah, of course, but fuck it, I'll explain it as we get to it. So, the whole thing around their disappearance, it bothered me because in the episode of Disappeared, his brother is like, yo, I didn't even know my brother was missing. It was brought to my attention by one of his business associates. You know what I'm saying? They hit me up and they was like, yo, I ain't heard from your brother. Is everything all right? So his brother decides to head over to his brother's house and he's like, yo, what the fuck going on? They just moved into this house. Like, again, they just recently moved to Fallbrook from San Clemente, whatever. They moved to Fallbrook and it was away from the ocean and shit, which they kind of say in the episode, Summer, she wasn't kind of with that. And in my opinion, like from listening to the audio and stuff and watching the videos, Joseph seemed like he was a surfer bro. But they moved and it was a nice ass house as well. They just moved into the house. They was in there rearranging shit. They furniture and all that hasn't arrived yet. They was doing like painting and stuff like that. Anyway, the brother go to the house and he looking like through the windows and shit. He's not really seeing anything out of the ordinary. He tries to like open the window to get into the house and shit. None of the windows are open. It's locked up tight. So he goes around the back and he sees like a bag of dog food and shit sitting there. And he's like, huh, somebody's been feeding the dogs. Who the hell's been feeding the dogs? So bro writes a note and he heads home and shit. He like write on a note, hey, whoever's feeding the dogs, could you hit me up? We ain't heard from our brother. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? You can hit me up. We can find out what's going on. He get a call back later on that day. It's motherfucking animal control. They like, hey, look, bro, I don't know if you the owner of the dogs or what, but we finna take the dogs away. Ain't nobody been here in days. Ain't nobody fed the dogs. Ain't shit happened. They been barking and just running all through the yards, and the neighbors called us. We finna take the dogs. His brother like, yo, that's strange as fuck. Like, what the fuck happened? That's my brother and his wife, dog. They haven't been there. I haven't heard from him. Fuck. He hit up his family. They filed missing persons reports and shit. Whole fucking family gone. So then, couple days go past and shit. Police is investigating. They locate the family's car near the border of Mexico, like right in like the border, like the parking lot for the border crossing and shit. It's like near there. They like, what the fuck is their car doing here? Why the fuck would they just randomly go to Mexico? Like, they got furniture and shit coming. They just bought a house. Why would they just walk across the border into Mexico? That doesn't make any sense. They reviewed the film footage and shit because on the American side of the border, back then, the Mexican side didn't have the footage. On the American side, they had cameras and shit. So they was recording and they seen some people who looked like they were walking their kids over into Mexico. They looked just like Joseph and Summer. And even the little kids and stuff. And even Joseph's mom was like, yo, I could have swore that was one of my grandkids right there. I know that walk anywhere. That was one of my grandkids. So they like, yo, it's this whole big mystery of like, yo, why the fuck was they parked at the border? Why the fuck did they go to the border and shit? Why did they go to Mexico? Are they trying to escape from somebody or something? Like, if they're in trouble, all they got to do is let us know. We're their family. Then the police, they start investigating Summer and shit. And they like, whoa, well, Summer's been changing her name. Maybe she was dating somebody and, you know, maybe the family was in danger or like, bro, I'm sorry, that don't make no fucking sense. This lady, sure, she was unhappy that they moved to that new place, but that's still her family, you know what I'm saying? That's still her husband. They was in it ride or die together, you know what I'm saying? So, to me, that didn't make any sense. From everything that the family, Summer's sister, everybody was describing in the episode, it did not make no sense for Summer to just, oh, we gotta leave, we gotta go to Mexico. So I feel like that was bullshit. The police was just chasing their tail with that. This case went unsolved for a while. However, this case was solved. Joseph's business partner murdered him and his family. His name was Charles, nicknamed Chase, piece of shit, Merritt. Charles, let me tell you about this fucking piece of shit, Charles. This motherfucker was in and out of jail. But Joseph, being the nice person that he was, that shit didn't matter. Joseph took him in, took care of him, gave him a fucking job. This motherfucker was a drug addict and a gambler. Bro bought $30,000 from fucking Joseph. Joseph got tired of his bullshit from what his friend Dan Kavanaugh said. Also, based on the official court documents, the last motherfucker to speak to Joseph was fucking Chase. Chase was the last motherfucker to speak to him and said that they met for lunch at Chick-fil-A in Rancho Cucamonga. Also, according to court documents, during an interview, Merritt told San Diego County Sheriff's investigators that he did not like Summer. Why the fuck would you just randomly say, I don't like somebody who's missing, bro? Why would you do that? Merritt also told investigators that he did not like Daniel Kavanaugh. Dan. He didn't like Dan. And stated that if I were ever going to commit murder, it would be with him. What? Him saying that he was going to harm Kavanaugh. This is what the official documents say now. He just said, bro, I don't like her. And if I was going to kill somebody, I'd kill that dude, not the family. He talking about fucking Daniel. What the fuck Daniel do to you? However, at the time that they took these statements from him, no evidence was found, no evidence of foul play. The family was just gone. So, as I was saying, Merritt was a gambler and a drug user. Kavanaugh told San Diego County investigators that Joseph planned to fire his ass. He was done with the bullshit, bro. He was done with the bullshit. So, based on the documents, Merritt's cell phone pinging a tower out by the gravesite where the family was found, which the family was found. They was found in a shallow grave in the desert. Entire fucking family found in a shallow grave in the desert, bro. During the disappear episode, they don't tell you that. At the very end of the episode, in the updated version, back then, it didn't say. But in the updated version, it said that they were found and this is being investigated as a murder. So, Time goes on, the police investigate. They put 2 and 2 together and they find out that it was this piece of shit, Chase. He didn't necessarily say why he did it. However, the police think it was because of his gambling debts and money, and he was fitting to lose his fucking job anyway. So, now that we know what happened to the McStay family, I apologize to their families, the loved ones they left behind. 4 people lost their lives too soon, and hopefully their killer gets the justice he deserves behind bars. So, let me explain what I think happened. Joseph went and met old dude for lunch that day at Chick-fil-A, right? It says that. When Joseph talked to him, I believe that Joseph was like, yeah, man, just want to know when I'm gonna get that 30 G's back. Because in the disappeared episode, it did say that Joseph, he did have some money, had over $100,000 in the bank. However, his family just moved. You don't just lend $30,000 to somebody. So Joseph hit him up and was like, yo, hey, man, when I'm gonna get that 30 G's back? Merritt, oh, man, I got you later, man. No worries. I got you later. No worries, man. He's like, yeah, just hit me up later. I got you, man. No worries. 8 o'clock roll around. Joseph give him a call. He like, hey, bro, you got that money that I lent to you? You're like, man, fuck, I forgot. Yeah, I got it for you, man. As a matter of fact, let me bring that shit to you tonight. I got you. No worries. Matter of fact, I'm on my way. So he goes over to the house acting like he got the money and shit. Get inside the house and he get Joseph alone somehow. Kills Joseph. Then he's, oh my gosh, Summer, something happened. Come help, please. Summer comes in there. She sees Joseph down on the ground. Joseph, are you okay? He kills. Then that piece of shit sets his sights on the children. In the official court document, it says a futon cover was used to wrap up Joseph, along with 3 pillows with the cases were missing. It also says that clothing inside the residence was all over the floor, as well as the presence of dried paint inside of paint trays. There was also a paint stain on Summer's brassiere, consistent with her laying on the floor and paint dripping on her. We don't even have to ask ChatGPT, you know what I'm saying, what happened. It's in the document. They'll be in the description below. This piece of shit killed him. In my opinion, it was over money that he owed. Now, again, because logistics was not given, we don't know for sure. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, right? Speculations are the same way. But again, I am so sorry to the McStay family as well as the Summers family. And I hope that you guys get the justice that you deserve. Okay, moving on to our next case. We have the curious case of Rico Harris. Now, this one, it definitely stood out to me because this was a grown man who went missing. Rico was 37 years old. He was 37 years old when he went missing. Rico went missing on October 10th, 2014. He was leaving Abra, California, and driving to Seattle to meet his girlfriend. He had recently was going to move to Seattle to be with her. Now, I'm going to get into the details, but let me tell you a little bit about Rico first. So, before I get into Rico, when I first, well, no, not when I first, because I watched the episode previously, but when I watched this episode again to do this Star Explain, when it was talking about Rico, a lot of the stuff that it was saying, it kind of hit home, you know what I'm saying? Like that whole thing, even when I was talking about in my Magazine Dreams video. Shout out to my Magazine Dreams video. If you haven't seen that video, check that video out. That was a good movie, and I think I explained the hell out of it. But not to toot my own horn. In that video, I explained that the main character, Killian Maddox, he was going through a lot of the emotions that men experience about like wanting to have friends, all the different things that we go through, the stresses, the changes, how we kind of have to keep it all inside of us. And I feel like this case, a lot of that had something to do with it. Now, I don't know what happened with Rico. I am going to give my opinion about what happened, but as far as what happened and what was going on in his mind, I have no idea. I can only speculate. But as a man, the things that his family was explaining, I recognized it. Depression can come in a lot of ways, and as a man, we try to hide it from people. For the longest time, like, I held my depression in. I was extremely depressed, and I found other outlets to kind of cover that depression up, to make myself, you know what I'm saying, be able to kind of deal with myself. And men, we do that in different ways. some ways is healthy, just like with Killian. Killian, what did he do? He worked out. Some men play video games. Some men turn to a bottle. Some men turn to other things. A lot of people, which is insane, turn to fucking weed, like you weed heads. But that's kind of my feeling around this. So let me explain Rico to you. His name is Rico Omar Harris. He was born in Los Angeles, California. His height was 6'9". Bro was a basketball player. Like he weighed 280 to 300 pounds, depending on, you know what I'm saying? But bro was 6'9", like, and a basketball player. One thing that stood out to me is my man Smith. Yo, shout out to Smith. Pause. Smith, he said, bro, if I had your height, I'd be one hell of an athlete. I'm not that tall. I'm like close to 6 feet. I'm like 5'11". Well, no, actually, after my surgery, my doctor said I'm 6'1". So shout out to being 6'1". But no, he told me, yo, if I had your height, I'd be one hell of an athlete. This dude had the height. He wore a size 18 shoe. He had the athletic ability because in the episode, his friends, his mom, everybody say, yo, he was a great basketball star. He took his college to a fucking championship game. Like, he was that dude when it came to basketball. And his dream was to go to the NBA because his dad was also a basketball player. His dad was Henry Harris, who went to Idaho State University. However, Rico didn't make it to the NBA like he hoped. He tried, but it just didn't happen. And it wasn't because he didn't have the size. It wasn't because he didn't have the athletic ability. It just didn't happen. However, he did get on with the Harlem Globetrotters. He got on with the Harlem Globetrotters. But that's like you wanting to be a football player, but you end up being a fucking towel boy. Not to say that, but that's what it's like. You want to be there, but everybody's telling you that you're not good enough. So you have to settle. Like with me, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not where I want to be in life. I wanted to design video games, but unfortunately, that's not in the cards for me. It's a lot of indie studios out there. So you kind of have to get in where you fit in. And with him, it was the Harlem Globetrotters, which that kind of reflects back to my other video, Life of Chuck. His grandfather said, you know what I'm saying, Chuck, you want to be a dancer. I know you want to be a dancer. Hey, you're a good dancer. You're a great dancer. But put your mind in the books because that's where your money's going to come from. Yeah, you could be a dancer. You could be the best baseball player in the world. But the odds aren't in your favor to do that. Anyway, okay, so this is what happened. Rico had recently moved to Seattle with his girl. However, he wasn't like feeling like himself. He was kind of having a little bit of a hard time adjusting to the area. And one day when his girl, she was like, you know what, I'm finna go out to go to the gym. Rico's like, I'm gonna go take a look around the city, get to know my city by myself a little bit. She could already tell he was a little off, you know what I'm saying? But he was off and down that whole time because he didn't have a job and he recently moved to the city, and his girl, she was the main breadwinner. So as a man, your girl's the main breadwinner. You recently moved to a place where you don't know nobody, don't know shit, don't know where anything is. You know what I'm saying? You get a little bit depressed and you like, yo, I ain't got no job, I ain't got no money. Let me get out and go look around. Fuck it, why not? I'll get out and go look around. However, a mutual friend between him and his girl had offered Rico a job opportunity. And it wasn't what he wanted to do. It wasn't like basketball and shit like that. I think it was in real estate. So he's kind of happy about it a little bit, you know what I'm saying? He about to start making some money, you know, making some motherfucking moves. His girl won't be the main breadwinner. He'll feel like he's contributing. So again, we get back to the day that, you know what I'm saying? His girl's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym for a little bit. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna explore, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look around and shit. His girl go to the gym, she come back. She's like, yo, where the fuck is Rico at? It's like 8 o'clock at night. It's 8 o'clock, 8:30. Where the fuck Rico at? She hit his cell. Rico like, yeah, I'm on my way to Cali. I'm going back to LA. You know what I'm saying? And she's not like tripping because he did, you know what I'm saying, mention that he had some business in LA. He was gonna head down there, settle up a few things and then come back, which she was cool with that. But the fact that he did it so abruptly, that was a bit of an issue. So Rico drives like 1,000 miles, a little more than 1,000 miles, all the way from Seattle to Los Angeles. He gets to Los Angeles and his mom's like, yo, what the fuck you doing here? You ain't supposed to be here. But okay, we're happy to see you, shit. Welcome home. He goes out to dinner with his brother and his mom's like, yeah, I know you got to drive back, but I want you to lay your ass on this couch and get some rest for a little bit. Rico like, all right, mom, yeah, I got you. So his mom goes in the house and sits on the couch. And she's like waiting for Rico to come in. A little while later, she get a call from Rico and he done already fucking left. Yo done left and already started heading back to Seattle, which was strange as fuck because by this time, bro's been up for well over 30 hours. Like no sleep, no nothing. Bro drove 1,000 miles one way and about to start driving 1,000 miles the other way. Now, in the episode of Disappeared, none of his family or nobody mentioned what else Rico did while he was down there. However, they did mention that Rico had a drinking issue and he had a drug issue. He stopped. He was actually sober for a while. He was sober for years. However, due to stress, you know what I'm saying, maybe he hit that midlife crisis point. Bro had a relapse. He started drinking again. That's what his family said. His family said he started drinking and he relapsed. They didn't say he relapsed. They didn't say he started drinking. Well, they did, but they said he relapsed. So in my opinion, and this is just me, when you say relapse, you're usually referring to drugs in my opinion. So now let me also explain. Rico, he played basketball and shit, and he started to use, his homeboy said he started to use speed. It would make him playing the game like playing basketball nothing. It was nothing. He can go up, shoot 100 shots like it ain't shit. Stay up for hours like it ain't shit. His family said he relapsed. Did Rico start getting high again? I don't know. I can't explain. I can't tell you. But if he did, doing crystal meth, because his friends say he did speed and he did crystal meth. I don't know if that's the same thing. Let me check. All right, so from what I can see, speed and crystal meth are two different things. And he started off doing speed and then he transitioned to crystal meth. Also, his family mentioned that he did have an overdose as well. So with that being in mind, bro drove all the way to California. What the fuck was he doing the whole day before he met his brother for dinner? Do I believe that he was getting high? Yes. Do I believe he was drinking? Yes. Was he trying to calm his nerves? Most likely. Was he stressed the fuck out? Definitely. So with that in mind and him not sleeping, what the fuck happened to Rico? What happened to Rico? He got on the road. He started heading back north. He hit his girl up. They talked on the phone for a while. He hit his mom up. Said, yo, he was tired. Girl said he was tired. He was like, I'll rest when I get to the mountains. I'll stop in the mountains. I'll take me a little nap. No thing about it. Nothing to his girl. She was like, nah, don't go to sleep in the mountains. Fuck that. I ain't hearing that shit. Take your ass to a rest stop. And that's one thing about it. When I go driving, even when I was a tractor trailer driver, bro, I'm not pulling off to the side of the road to go to sleep. You don't know what's out there in them woods. It's dark as fuck in them woods. Being on a lonely stretch of dark highway in the middle of the night is one of the scariest things ever. There's no lights. Everything is dark. You don't know what is out there in those woods. It could be a person standing out there ready to cause you or your family harm. Fuck that. I take my ass to the rest stop. Rico should have took his ass to the rest stop, which he did. So next day, 8 o'clock in the morning, you know what I'm saying? His girl, she hit him up. Rico, he's still doing well. He tells her that, you know what I'm saying, I'm in the Sacramento area, you know, which California is a large state. California is just about a whole fucking coast. Like, California is huge. So, bro is in like Sacramento, California, and he's still driving and shit. His girl's like, you know what I'm saying, she's explaining that they talk for like 15 minutes and he still sounds tired as fuck. Then a little while later, his mom hits him up. He tells her that he's tired, he's gonna stop, he's gonna get some rest, he's gonna get something to eat, he's just gonna take it easy. And his mom's like, yes, please take it easy, you know what I'm saying? Then they hang up. Then after a little while, his girl's like, damn, where the fuck Rico at, man? He ain't hit me up yet, what's going on? And she's like, yeah, I ain't wanna fuck with him because he's driving, which I respect that. I try not to text people when they're driving. She's like, I didn't want to mess with him while he was driving. I didn't want to text him. So I was like, I'll just wait for him to hit me back whenever. So after a little while, he hits her back. He says, hey, I'm okay. No worries. However, after a little while, his girl, she does start worrying and shit. And like, she kind of like tosses it off for a little bit. However, she can't just get that it's something wrong out of her head. So she tries hitting him up and she can't get through. So she's like, oh man, maybe it's the mountains and shit. Maybe it's because he's driving through the mountains. Maybe that's why I can't reach him. So she ain't tripping. She like, well, I know for a fact Rico's gonna be here about 7 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just give him some time to himself, you know what I'm saying? Let him drive it out. And I'll just holler at him when he get here, 7:30, 8 o'clock. 7 o'clock, I'll holler at him when he get here around 7 o'clock. So 7:30 comes, Rico's not there. 8 o'clock comes, Rico's not there. She like, yo, what the fuck? She try calling him again, no answer. So she hits up his mom and she's like, yo, should we file a missing persons report? And the mom's like, well, we can't file a missing persons report because we gotta wait 2 days anyway, because he's an adult. That fucking missing person shit again, like, I don't know why, and not to go on another tangent, it's been like a couple of this video already. Why don't they change that? If it's something wrong and somebody's missing, fuck that, yo, find them. It's not like you're doing anything better. Find the missing person. If somebody tells you, I know this person and they're supposed to be here, that's supposed to send, you know what I'm saying? That's supposed to perk your ears up too. If a mom says, oh, my son is supposed to be here at 4 o'clock. He told me he would be here and he's never broken his word. The son's just magically gonna break his word on a random fucking Tuesday and go to Walmart? No, trust what these people say. Now, Rico's mom, she was the one who said, you know what I'm saying, wait 2 days, which of course that's what you're supposed to do, or that's what they require you to do. She wasn't necessarily worried though, his mom. She's like, I know my son, you know what I'm saying, if he gets stressed out or something, he'll kind of, you know, go off to the side and he'll be back. No worry. So why did that, you know what I'm saying, perk me up a little bit? Why did I pay attention to that? Your son has a drug habit. Your son has an alcohol habit. Is this something that he does because of those? Was he doing it before? Did he always do that when he was a kid? You know what I'm saying? Like when I was a kid, or even now as an adult, if it's something that's fucking with me and it like let's say if I write a piece of code and I've been working on this code for hours, I just can't figure out what's wrong with it, why it won't work. I will literally sit on it for hours trying to figure this shit out. However, if I get up, walk away, go lay down, take a nap, come back to it the next day, I'll have that shit, hold on, just like fucking that. All right, I'll figure it out. And I don't know why it's like that. Maybe it's like that for other people as well, but it'll fuck with me the whole time. And then I'll just get up, walk away, come back to it, and I got it. Maybe that's how Rico was. Maybe that's why his mother wasn't stressing about it. However, we do know that he recently relapsed. So what's going on? Okay, so they decide to just give Rico his space just in case, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he did get too stressed out. Maybe he just needed to get away for a little bit. And Tuesday comes. Rico was supposed to be at an interview. However, Tuesday morning, the police is knocking on Rico's mom's door. And they like, hey, we found your son's car. It's like near a national park. It was just parked and abandoned. And we just want to know where he is, just in case he's okay. We just want to do a wellness check. His mom's like, what? The fuck you mean you found his car? Police is like, yeah, we found his car, you know what I'm saying? And it looks like it's kind of in a disarray. They find his car, the battery's dead. There's no fucking gas in the car. Huh? Okay, so this also, you know what I'm saying, kind of perked me up a little bit. So Rico was taking the I-5 route from Alhambra, which is very close. It's in the vicinity of Los Angeles, I think it's Los Angeles County. I think that's, anyway, he was in the vicinity of Los Angeles. So he was taking the I-5 going up, passing Stockton, you know what I'm saying, Sacramento. Why, when he gets to Sacramento, he decides, I'm gonna take a 45-mile detour and take 16 and head further west. Why would he do that when he could just stay on 5 and, you know what I'm saying, make it to Seattle? He randomly took a detour and ended up running out of gas. What was his mindset? Everybody he spoke to said he seemed calm. He sounded tired. They were worried about him, but otherwise everything seemed fine. So he went missing in Catch Creek Canyon Regional Park, lower, as the locals call it. Police find his car. They kind of look through it. They see it's a little disheveled. However, while they looking around in his car, they find a drug bag. Somebody who is sober, not even sober, somebody who would, you know what I'm saying, even drink. You might find a beer can in their car or something like that. Might find a beer can. That's why I think he relapsed on the drugs, because they found a baggie in his car. Because they found that baggie in his car, even all the police around, they thought, oh, well, he went off to go use drugs, which, you know, I ain't even gonna lie, that's what I was thinking as well. Maybe, you know what I'm saying, on his way through Sacramento, because again, his girl hit him up, he was in Sacramento, his mom hit him up, he in Sacramento. His detour is just going outside of Sacramento. Maybe while he was in Sacramento, or maybe while he was at home, you know what I'm saying? One of his old homeboys, one of his old drug dealers, he went and seen him while he was there, got something. He was like, you know what? It's relaxing out here. I want to go somewhere and relax, do this last little drug or whatever, and then I'm gonna leave all that shit behind me. Do I think that's what he did? Yes. Said I'm gonna do it one more time, and I'm gonna leave it all behind. I'm gonna make me a new life in Seattle. It's gonna be me. It's gonna be my girl. We gonna have kids. We gonna get married. This is gonna be our future. So Rico's missing. The police, you know what I'm saying, they have something special in California I ain't know about. They can do like a area, like if it's a cell tower just in that area, they can ping that cell tower. Well, we already know about pinging to find your location and shit. However, they can hit that cell tower and send out messages just to residents in that area, which I'm pretty sure they can all do that now. So they send out messages to everybody in that area who lives in that area in the radius. And they like, hey, if you seen this person, you know what I'm saying? They call them up, they leave messages and shit like that. They ping his cell phone and they find out that, yeah, it's in the area, it's close by. So the police, you know what I'm saying, while they're waiting for that to come back, they also are searching the area and they see large footprints. You know what I'm saying? They see size 18 shoes because, again, our boy was 6'9". He was a basketball player. Basketball players have big feet. They see like large footprints in the sand. They're like, okay, maybe he went down here. They find a shoe insert and shit. Like, that was random, but you know what I'm saying? As somebody who had feet problems, shout out to the surgeries. Y'all remember the surgeries if you've been paying attention. As somebody who's had feet problems, I sometimes remove the inserts out of my shoes. Sometimes it's easier to walk around without them. Hell, I even walk around barefoot. It's more comfortable for me to walk around barefoot and I feel more stable than sometimes me wearing shoes. Anyway, they looking around, they see all these signs of Rico, but no Rico. The person who found Rico's cell phone hits the police back and they like, yo, it's a grandpa, a grandma, and their grandson and shit. They was driving down the street and he like, yo, yeah, we was driving down the street and my grandson, he seen the book bag sitting on the side of the road. He was like, yo, what the fuck? Grandpa, it's a book bag over there. So they slow down, get out. They yell, hey, anybody out here? Anybody out here? Nobody answers. This is what the people say. This ain't what I'm saying. They take the cell phone back home with them and they leave a backpack. Police get the backpack. They go through the backpack. They find fucking jumper cables. And they're like, yo, why would he take the jumper cables with him? Why wouldn't he leave the jumper cables at the car? His mom tell the police, yeah, my son had a pair of jumper cables. They're Rico's jumper cables. They find like other stuff in there, like clothes and shit, but it ain't really nothing of any substance in the backpack. But they like, yo, why would he leave his backpack? His girl's like, that his backpack, he treated that like it was a purse. He always had it with him. Police meet up with the older couple. They get the cell phone. They take the cell phone back to the lab. They analyze it, blah, blah, blah. They find a video where Rico was recording. They believe that Rico didn't know he was recording, but the phone was recording. Rico, he's chilling in the car. He's singing songs and shit. He's tossing CDs in the car. He's acting a little bit erratic, but he doesn't really know that he was being recorded. He didn't know he was recording himself. They're like, okay, that explains why the car is in such a terrible shape. He was in here, you know what I'm saying, tossing CDs and dirtying up his own car. I mean, that's what people do. My car's dirty as fuck now. Anyway, that's all the information they get from the cell phone. They also get information from other people who've seen Rico. Some people say, oh, Rico, he was acting erratic. He was pacing around his car and dancing. Other people seen him kind of leaning up against the guardrails. One person said they seen him on, like, I think they call it a cattle path, but it's a path like right off the road and shit. And the detectives, they like, well, maybe he got out the car, you know what I'm saying? So it is a nice area. Maybe he got out just to kind of look around, get some water, and just, you know what I'm saying, just get away from it all for a little bit. Nobody knows what happened to Rico. Rico is still missing to this day. So again, I want to apologize to Rico's family, his brother, his mother, his girl, all of his family. Rico has been missing since October 10th, 2014. He was last seen wearing white jeans and a gray thermal. Unfortunately, Rico has still not been found. This case is still being handled by the Yolo County Sheriff's Department. If you have any information, please reach out to the Yolo County Sheriff's Department at 530-666-8282. The case number is 142964. Now, what do I believe happened to Rico? All right, so Rico. So not to, bring race into this. I once watched a movie, and y'all know I'm a movie buff. It said that black people don't usually kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? Black people don't do that. We don't usually kill ourselves. However, that is not what I believe happened here. This is what I believe. And this is speaking from all the facts, everything I've read, the disappeared episode, everything. Rico had a drug problem. Rico was stressed out. Rico was dealing with shock. You know what I'm saying? It was a shock. He was dealing with transplant shock. Like, he moved to a new place, he didn't know nobody, and he ain't got no friends there. He's dealing with transplant shock. So he gets up, he goes home. He has a couple beers, he gets drunk a little bit. He hit up his friends and shit. He knows he has something to do. So he's not taking care of himself, he's not sleeping. Due to Rico not sleeping and him having drugs and alcohol in his system, I do believe that it may have tweaked Rico's mind, especially the not sleeping part, and he wandered off into the woods. He may have knew what he was doing, and he may have gotten high again in the car because somebody said they seen him acting erratic around the car. It's possible that Rico wandered off into those woods somewhere and he was possibly attacked by an animal. He could have fell down, got hurt, got buried in an avalanche, rock slide, and that's what I believe happened. I believe Rico is somewhere in the Northern California hills. That's not me, you know what I'm saying? That's me giving my best guess, unfortunately. Ain't no telling how much, you know what I'm saying, drugs he did. We already knew that he didn't sleep for a while. Bro drove 1,000 miles. Like, DOT standards is you're supposed to drive 500 miles a day. 500 miles a day. Bro drove double that and didn't sleep. Then got back on the road and did it again. Just about did it again. If that don't tell you that somebody's high on something, speed, Adderall, you mix that shit with the wrong shit, ain't no telling what can happen to you. So I apologize for saying, but I do believe that Rico is in the Northern California hills. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say.
Sure, I can give you a reasoned guess. It's definitely a mystery that's left a lot of unanswered questions. From what's known, it seems like Rico Harris just vanished in that remote area, and given the sightings of footprints and the backpack found, it's possible he wandered off and got lost or disoriented. There's no clear evidence of foul play, so one guess is that he might have succumbed to the elements or gotten injured in that rugged terrain. Ultimately, it's just speculation based on what little evidence there is, one of those cases where we just don't have a definitive answer.
And that was my last case. So if you watched this video this far, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for dealing with my stumbling over my words. Thank you for me going on my tangents. Thank you for being here with me, and thank you for going through this with me. Tonight, we discussed 4 cases of missing and murdered people. We talked about Jennifer Kesse from Orlando, Florida. There has been an update in her case, and it has been reopened. There's no official updates yet, but her case has been reopened. It's no longer a cold case, so hopefully she gets the justice that she deserves. We also discussed a case from the 90s, the Springfield Three, Susie Streeter, Stacy McCall, and Sherrill Levitt, their disappearance. We also talked about the case that was insane and how it happened, what happened, and even though the person who did the crime was caught, there's still more questions with the McCall family, and we have the mysterious disappearance of Rico Harris in Northern California. These 4 cases, they all stuck with me for their own reasons, but we're not going to leave off on that note because this is Star Explains. We always have something positive to go out on. So I hope that you had a great day. You have a great day tomorrow, and you have a great day after that. I hope that all of your days are bright, peaceful, without stress, and you reach all of your goals. I know that it's difficult with reaching your goals, whether it's that supervisor that's holding you back, whether it's working a job that you hate, not having the money to do the things that you want to do. I know it's tough, but you'll get through it. Keep picking them up and putting them down. My name is Star Verossis. and I'll catch you in the next one.